Yo, what's up, everyone? It's BdotJeff here, and if you haven't seen by now, or haven't heard by now, I did an interview over on Colin Conversations about the whole entire YK2 album, as well as took some fan questions and did some other stuff as well. So we couldn't get to all of the questions during my interview. So we have a few questions left that I'm going to answer now that couldn't get answered during my interview. So yeah, I have an email open right here. So let's get it. First few questions are coming from Emmy Roy. First question is, in what way do you think you can help inspire young artists? I can inspire young artists. Honestly, to be honest, if there are any artists, young artists out there right now that find me as an inspiration, one, thank you, because I ain't shit. But if there was one piece of advice I had to give to anybody who wanted to start making music or anything like that, it's be true to you, be true to yourself. Don't make the music you think everybody wants to hear. Make the music that you want to hear. Make the music you want to make. There's nothing wrong with sounding weird or different or even the same as other people, as long as it's what you want to make and is genuine from you. Because yeah, if you make something that's pretty much not genuine, not from a place of sincerity, your music may not come out the way you want it to come out. So yeah, there's that. It's a dope question. Next question from Emmy. What do you want your music to represent to your listeners? It's funny because during the interview for a write-up, not the Colin Conversations interview, but I had to do a write-up that asked me, they asked me a similar question. So what I want my music to represent to my listeners is the fact that you can love yourself, honestly. You're not alone in your struggle, you know what I'm saying? There's always someone that's going to be dealing with something similar. There's always going to be someone that's in your corner rooting for you. You're not alone in anything you go through, whether it be mentally, whether it be, physically in relationships, whether it be family relationships, whatever, man. Like, you're not alone in this. And my music, I want to help show people that they can love themselves, they can progress in whatever trials and tribulations they have going on in their lives, because they are not alone in this. There's someone out there that totally understands what you're going through, and they're rooting for you just as much as I'm rooting for you. And I want you to be the best you can be, and strive to be better, and because you can be better. It takes work. Progress is not linear, but I know you can do it, because if I can do it, you can do it too. Yeah, pretty much the gist of that. Dope question. Next question: did you always see yourself in the music industry, and if so, in what way? I mean, okay, to be fair, I've always wanted to pretty much be in the music industry ever since I started recording music, writing songs, and just playing with DAWs and making beats and stuff since I was like 13 or something. But do I see myself only in the music industry for my whole life? No. Because I do too much stuff. I'm acting in my music videos, and I'm directing my music videos, and I'm producing them, but I'm also acting in other stuff. I'm directing other stuff. I'm writing things. I do a lot of stuff. So in terms of like where I think I'll be or where I want to end up, it's just in general the music industry. And it's not generally the music industry. It's more in general the entertainment industry as a whole. Because I like to do stuff. I do photography as well. You know, I do a lot of things, so I couldn't see myself only being planted in the music industry by itself. But yeah, I kind of always seen myself like doing something with music, for sure. That's always been kind of like a reoccurring theme in my life. Yeah. Dope. And final question from Emmy. Choose one, always cold or always hot. And that one's easy, always hot, because I can still cool myself down if I'm hot all the time, but I can never truly always warm myself up because it can get too cold and you can run out of layers of clothing and it still can pierce you. Also, easier to die in the cold than it is in the heat. Boom, boom. I can always hydrate myself. So yeah. Also summer baby. Also played baseball. Always hot. Always hot. Always hot. Fuck the cold. Dope. And that's all the questions from Emmy. Thank you so much, Emmy, for all your questions and stuff. Thanks for listening to the music. And we'll go on to this next video question from my homie, Gordon Ross. What's up, Gordon? How you feeling, man?
Hey, this is a question for Wade. How do you know an album is finished? And if so, when did you know yours was finished? Thanks, man.
All right, cool. How do you know when an album is finished? And if so, when did I know mine was done? That's a really heavy question. That's a really loaded question because it all depends. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to knowing when an album is done, it all depends on what you're doing with that album. You know, if you're going for a concept album, if you're going for an EP, if you're going for an album full of bangers, just really good songs, if you're going for an album of only love songs, if you're trying to like make music under one specific, you know, subject and everything, like it just depends, you know. But for me, how I view it is there space? Is there still space left on a project where I feel like it needs this, or it needs that, or it needs something that sounds kind of like this, or man, we don't really have the lead single yet, we got to keep working on the lead single. We gotta write some more catchy tunes. You know, do I want to make a trap song? Do I want to make a pop song? That kind of deal. So for me, a lot of it has to do with whatever I'm going for, with whatever, how much space is within the overall concept of the project that I'm aiming for. So it's similar to when I like write songs and when I know a song is finished, where I'm listening to it constantly over and over again. I'm making songs, listening to stuff, changing the order over and over and over and over again, and constantly tweaking and like, you know, editing small things to make sure that like, is there space for anything left on this project? You know what I'm saying? So for when I knew mine was done, it was pretty much like, all right, I have these songs that I want to introduce the project. Then I have my bangers in the front and the end, the songs I really, really want to be like viewed as catchy. And then I have my meat in the middle, where it's like a lot of like the actual like heavy, deep album cuts. And then like my outros, what I want the song, or rather the album, to sound like at the end, the tail end of it. And if or not, I'm going to make an intro and outro as well. So when I knew mine was finished, I knew mine was close when we were about halfway done all of the drums. Well, probably about 2/3 of the way done all of the drums for the project, or rather reproducing the drums for the album. And then I had, I guess, a thought one day while I was back home in Maryland for Christmas last Christmas, and I pretty much came to realize that I didn't have an album have a song that sounded like Sarah Lanning on it. Like I didn't have an outro that kind of like culminated a lot of the stuff together, like just kind of like a nice punctuation mark. So when I had taken a beat I had produced prior for something else and then placed it in my own style and hands, I kind of ended up creating Sarah Lanning, which ended up being solidifying me knowing that I was done and the album was finished. So that's pretty much what it is, man. For me, it was space. What I wanted the album to sound like, what I wanted the songs to be about, and how I wanted all that space to fit together next to with these songs next to each other. And ultimately, I needed a punctuation mark at the very end, because that's the last thing that the album needed in terms of space. And that's when I realized, boom, the album was finished. Yeah, dope question. I hope I answered that to the best of my ability and all that shit, and you didn't really get too confused. But yeah, that's what it is. Thanks, Gordon. You are the homie. So these next few questions are from my homie Malcolm, aka Justice the Genius Child out of DMV. So yeah, first question Malcolm writes is, how is the music and art scene in Ohio compared to Maryland? How is it? I guess the one big difference with like the music scene is in the DMV, everyone's kind of got like defined genres, you know what I'm saying? If you make trap, you probably play shows with trap dudes. If you make chiller, like stoner hop, you probably play shows with those guys. You make specific like band style music, you probably play shows with those people, whether it be hip hop influenced or not, or whatever. But yeah, in the DMV, everything's pretty genre defined out there. So a main difference is out here the influence of bending genres and fusing genres and like kind of just having a bunch of experimenting sounds and stuff is super prevalent. Like a lot of people out here kind of support the whole fuck a genre aesthetic that I've been trying to go for, and that's been like one of the main things I've noticed out here that's different, is that the support for like hybrid music or genres that aren't the necessarily the stereotypical sound of the genre is totally like the thing out here. Because you got, punk bands playing shows with rappers, playing shows with indie hip-hop bands, playing shows with, like, funk bands, dude. Like, shit's weird. Shit's weird out here when it comes to, like, the music scene. But at the same time, the art scene, relatively similar outside the fact that, like, the flow arts, I think it's what it's called. When people have, like, the fire and shit, and they playing with the fire and shit, you know what I'm saying? And they got hula hoops and shit, and like fucking powder and shit, you know what I'm saying? They be playing with the shit, with the tune and the music and stuff, like kind of like how you be seeing niggas at raves and shit. That's like a huge thing out here, you know what I'm saying? Just in general, the flow arts is huge out here. When I'm playing barbecue, man, hella people out there. When I like gone to like specific EDM shows and shit, and even non-EDM shows, dude, just straight up like festivals out of this bitch. Everybody is out here. There's like always gonna be at least 5 dudes per stage, just like flinging some lights around or something, you know what I'm saying? Or like playing with fire or something. But yeah, outside of that, everything, people like trippy shit out here, man. People like trippy shit, so that's a huge thing too. Like there's like hella trippy shit out here. Yeah, music scene is definitely way different. Art scene's pretty similar, aside from the flow arts and stuff. But yeah, thanks, man. Next question. What are your biggest challenges as a producer, rapper, and engineer? My biggest challenges, I guess one would have to be literally just the pure fact that I'm doing everything. And it's like being good at everything is really, really hard. Like, because a huge thing that I struggle with is my percussion. My drums are definitely like the hardest part of my production process, getting the right beats and getting the right sounds that I want. So that's the main thing. I think the main challenge is like being good at everything, because like I'm really good at the melodic stuff, pretty good at mixing. Mastering is a little bit different as it comes to like your ears being trained for it, as well as experimenting with how my mixing is a little I'm trying to get better at that too. But yeah, it's literally just doing everything. Honestly, I'm gonna throw one up in there too. Since I'm doing everything myself, marketing is a fucking huge challenge. That's probably one. I know you didn't say as a manager or marketer or A&R guy or whatever, but I'm gonna throw that in there because as someone who does everything pretty much DIY independently, that's something that I have to do for myself too, and that's one of the biggest things that I've been like trying to fix, trying to work on, is like, how do I market myself? How do I make myself, my brand, unique? You know what I'm saying? And that's a huge one. Marketing myself, that's a big challenge. Thanks, man. And last question from Malcolm over here. What is the main message you want your listeners to get from your music? Which is super hilarious because I pretty much answered that. But again, to reiterate, main message I want is you're okay being yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's good to be you. Don't be afraid to be you. Don't be afraid to be happy. Everyone deserves happiness for the most part, if you're not a bigot. But everyone deserves, the chance to be happy. Never think that you don't deserve it. Love yourself. Be you. Love yourself. Don't be afraid to be yourself. All of that. You're not alone in this shit. Progress is not linear. And don't be afraid to go to therapy. Just don't be afraid to go to therapy. It's not for everybody, and I know that for sure. But don't be afraid to check it out. So yeah. Keep your mental health on lock, my guy. But yeah. Thanks, Justice. You can peep some of his music out everywhere you stream music. Justice the Genius Child, SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, all that. He's a dope dude, makes dope music, represent the DMV, support black artists. Hell yeah. So we got this last video question over here from the homie Tyler Durden of Wolves and Sheep. So let's get it. Let's see what he's got to say.
What up, everybody? This is Tyler Durden, and this is Kai Ire, and I want to ask BdotJeff a question. Favorite album of all time and why? And let's do this twofold. One, your favorite hip-hop album of all time, and then two, your favorite non-hip-hop album of all time, and why those are your favorite albums. Peace.
All right, hell yeah. It's a good question. My favorite hip-hop album of all time and my favorite non-hip-hop album of all time. So let's just get this one out the way. My favorite hip-hop album of all time is my favorite album of all time, period. And that is Childish Gambino, aka Donald Glover's 2013 album, sophomore album, Because the Internet. Yeah, man, the reason why that's my favorite album of all time, I have nothing but vivid memories of the day that came out. Been a fan of Donald Glover's for years, man. And when this album came out, I cried. I'm not gonna lie, I cried listening to this album. I followed the entire storyline of the boy, and the fact that this album, to me, sounds as brand new as the day it originally released in 2013 is like crazy to me. I could like throw it on like right now on repeat like all day and be like fine listening to the whole thing over and over and over again. The fact that this man literally took 4-5 projects and just boom, just glued them together with this one album. This one album literally glues together Camp, Royalty, Because the Internet, and the Stone Mountain Kauai double project mixtape EP as the story of the main character, the boy, and living his fruitful life of emptiness, pretty much. It's like insane. The screenplay that goes with this is insane. I loved it. Shit, I even wrote I rewrote the ending in a contest with Donald Glover and Genius hosting it, to literally win a copy of the script and like vinyl and like CD and all that shit signed by Donald himself. I did not win, but honorable mention was not even a actual place, but Donald loved my rewriting of his script so much that he got me, he named me honorable mention himself, and I got like some cool swag from Genius and stuff like that because of it, back when it was called Rap Genius. And this was literally like New Year's Eve of 2013, where I got the email that I had won this script contest. And like, it's just my whole life around that time, because the internet came out, is just like super significant with this album, you know what I'm saying? So I have a lot of memories culminating with this album. So dead ass, one of my favorite albums of all time, if not my favorite album of all time. I have yet to hear an album that I love as much as Because the Internet. Yeah. All right, favorite non-hip-hop album of all time, I guess, fuck it, Hail the Sun Wake. Yeah, the album Wake by the band Hail the Sun, purely for the, I guess, how new it sounds as well. Like, it sounds just as new as the day I first listened to it. And like ranking the Hail the Sun albums is really hard for me anyways. But yeah, I think Wake by Hail the Sun a lot because of like the transitions from like the very first song all the way through Cosmic Narcissism falling on deaf ears. Like, man, like that whole like that's like the whole front half is just incredible in terms of like sound structure, soundscape, how Eric and Shane play in and out, you know what I'm saying? They pick up and drop who's playing lead and rhythm, and sometimes there's no rhythm at all, it's only lead, or there's, you know what I'm saying? They literally play harmonies with each other on guitar and shit. It's like awesome. Donovan's like drumming is like top notch on that shit, like super clean, like super precise, plus like the melody lines that Donovan sings as well, man. It's like, I feel like Wake was their magnum opus when it came to the band's like albums, but they also have like an album called Mental Knife that's like honestly in the running for like that spot as well. But honestly, Wake for now is up there for sure. But yeah, man, I play a lot of I sing a lot of songs from Wake. I've covered a couple songs from Wake too. Yeah, definitely. Yep. Best favorite hip hop album of all time, Childish Gambino's Because the Internet, and favorite non-hip hop album of all time, Wake by Hail the Sun. Hell yeah, man. Again, thank you everybody for contributing to these questions and sending me some shit in to answer for the Colin's Conversation interview. If you have not checked it out, I will leave a little doobly boo right here for you to go check that out and all that stuff too, as well as link in the description and stuff. If you fuck with this joint, like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. BdotJeff, Colin's Conversations. I watch too much Anthony Fantano. All right, y'all. Peace.